Hey guys, I have something I need to talk about today. It was a bad day. I had a woman this afternoon come out of the casino, decide that she didn't want to live anymore, steps off the curb in front of my truck, 45-mile-an-hour zone, and tried to commit suicide off the front of my truck. It was a bad deal. I mean, I'm still shook up about it. It's almost 8 hours later now. It just happened this morning. It's already the evening. It's 8 or 9 hours later, and I'm still thinking about this. It brought up so many things in my brain. And here's the thing. I have been touched by suicide recently in my life. About, was it 6-7 weeks ago, had a guy that I grew up with kill himself. He was a military veteran, and he was having a hard time dealing with everything he'd been through, and he tried solving his problems with alcohol, and it didn't end too well for him. It just caused more problems. And and a couple of years before that, I had a cousin commit suicide, and that was a really rough deal as well, because that's someone who I was close with, and it kind of brought a lot of that back into my mind today, and that's why it is that I wanted to make this video. Is I wanted to talk about the finality of suicide. Is what is your story? What is your life story? And I know for me, when I was 19 years old, I was in a horrible car accident. Was left disfigured by that accident, got brain damage from that accident. I almost lost my left eye in that accident. It was a bad deal. You guys have paid attention to the show, but I got this big scar that starts here. It goes all the way over the top of my head. With the way my face was smashed in, I mean, my nose was over here, left eye was punctured with a piece of my skull. Had to pull the front of my face off, put it back on, and go through a lot of surgery. And I mean, the whole front of my face was split open around here. I don't know if you can really see the scar tissue in this video, but that's what happened. And I came out of the surgeries from that, and my face is all swollen. I've got these staples all the way over the top of my head, and I mean, I just look like hell. I'm still, like I'm all swollen and black and blue, and just, it was horrible. I did not look good at all. And I looked in the mirror and I said, no woman is ever going to want me again. I will never have a relationship again. And I felt like dying. I felt really bad. I mean, I went through a lot of really horrible feelings in those days, and wouldn't talk to anybody about it. Wouldn't admit to anybody about it. I mean, I felt like I was stupid and I was weak and I should have been stronger, and why am I feeling this way? And it was because my career and my life as I'd known it had been completely destroyed. I got told that I'd probably never drive a car again. My dream of being a pilot was over, and I was probably going to lose the use of my left eye, if not lose the eye altogether. And that for me was a turning point, because for me, I grew up in a really bad situation. My mother's a terribly abusive person, and she did a lot of really bad things to me when I was a kid that I still won't speak of today. And so I had just come out of that situation. I'd cut her out of my life. I'd moved out on my own. A year prior, I'd had a really good friend killed in a car accident, and I got into the Navy, and the Navy was the first place in my life that things really went right. Finished my schools with a 96.15 average, topped my class leader, got 5 letters of accommodation, just got meritoriously advanced to E4 from E1. I mean, I was killing it and got a lot of recognition. As a matter of fact, I was doing so well, the captain of the base, who's in charge of like 10,000 people, came down to my graduation, shook my hand, told me I was a model sailor, and handed me the letter that he had written for me, and that was a very cool deal. And because of that, I had a great thing going for me, and that accident that I had took it all away. And so I was very depressed. It was a very traumatic loss. And the Navy put me out over it. And the Navy said I couldn't be a part of it anymore, and found out that I'm dealing with some brain damage and some other things. I got a serotonin deficiency, which makes it hard for me to feel good, so I've had to learn how to manage that. I've had to learn how to manage chronic pain conditions, so I understand those feelings that someone can go through. I understand what it's like to experience those things. And I fought my way through it completely alone. And there were times that I was really close. But had my story ended then, had I ended it all then, I wouldn't have the life that I have today, and that would be such a shame, because I fought so very hard to overcome those things. And I mean, on top of just those things there, I mean, I'm overcoming the effects of a traumatic childhood where I was very badly beaten and mentally abused by my mother, and these things that had happened, and I had to overcome that as well, and I did. And today, I live a great life. I live on a sailboat. I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to get to see all these things. I'm going to be going surfing and kayaking and all these exotic locations, going scuba diving. I am going to live a life that very few people get to. But had I ended it all those years ago thinking that my life was over, that it would never get any better than that, I wouldn't have what I do today. Because my life today is so much better than I had it then. And I fought my way through. I got my eye working again. I got through the medical process again. And then the Navy found out that I had brain damage, and they put me out on a med board. But I got out of the Navy, and I got a commercial driver's license, and I've driven over 1 million miles. I've got like 1.5 million behind me now, and I've flown airplanes, and I've got to do all these things, and now I'm captaining a boat, and I'm getting to have these experiences and live this life, and it's such a wonderful thing where I am at today based on all this hard work. And what I understand about it now with these experiences that I've had witnessing other people do this and the things that I went through, because I've really seen this from both sides, is that suicide doesn't end the pain, it magnifies it. It takes your pain and it spreads it across many other people. The very first person, like today, the woman that ran out in front of my truck, I was fortunate. I was able to stop 3.5, 4 feet from her. It was so close. I had that truck, trailers going back and forth. I thought it was going to jackknife. I was just waiting for the thing to come around. Scared me. I mean, it's probably one of the most intense moments of my life. I'm going to always remember this day today, because that was a very, very crazy thing, the way that happened. And it was almost over for her like that. And luckily we got the police down her. They took her to the hospital. They're going to get her some help. Hopefully she can get on with her life, and whatever it was that got her feeling so down, hopefully she can move past that. But had she been successful, here's the thing, is she would have spread her pain to me, because I'm the first guy that has to experience that. I have to live through watching her bounce off the hood of my truck. And then I have to be the first one to get out of that truck, to step down and find her body on the ground there in front of that truck. Or let's say that I'd lost control of the truck, because I know that on one side of me I had a minivan there, and if that minivan had a family, what if I'd crashed into that minivan and I'd hurt that family trying to avoid her? Then, it's just a compounding of thing. You could see how that can just run away and how quickly that can become an even worse situation than what it is. So that's something that she could have saddled me with through the rest of my life for her actions. And I could have had to deal with that every day, and I could have had to lose sleep with that and those types of things, and that would have been a very, very horrible deal. And so then you'd have had the first responders that would have had to show up on scene, then they'd have had to deal with that scene, and then they'd all had to deal with those memories, and then you would have had her family when they found out. It would have just taken that pain and multiplied it and spread it around and spread it around. And so whenever someone does something like this, be it, by slitting their wrist, by shooting themselves, stepping in front of a truck, diving off a bridge, there's always that person that has to show up and clean up the body. There's always that person that has to discover the body. And the thing you have to remember is, what if that person's a child? What if that person is someone that's already emotionally fragile, and that pushes them over the edge? I mean, that's the thing is oftentimes suicides are accompanied by secondary suicides, because someone sees someone do it and it pushes them like over that cliff. That's the last thing for them. And so what if, this person doing it caused another person to go do it? And it's just one of those things that compounds in life, man. And it just spreads that, and there's nothing good that comes of it. And I know for some people that's hard, and I know that it's hard to understand. And in the moment, they don't think about. They just think about their pain, and they don't think about anyone else. And you need to consider those people and what it's going to do to those people, because people don't. I think if you think that through, I think that will help people overcome that, because I know it did for me when I was in those situations, and I really started to realize the way it would go down, and that's what backed me out of it when I was having those feelings almost 20 years ago now. Suicide doesn't solve anything. Go get some help. Fix the things that are wrong in your life. It can be done. I mean, I'm living proof of that today. I'm living on this boat. I'm living the life that I want to live. I'm living it the way that I want to live it, and that is such a beautiful thing. Please don't do that to someone else. Please don't do that to the people you love, because they're always going to ask why. And you're going to have people that feel so terrible about it. Like the guy that I knew in Montana that I came up with. I think about that a lot, and I'm like, man, why'd you have to do that? And is there anything that I could have done? I mean, could I have reached out to him if I'd known? Because I didn't know what he was going through. I hadn't talked to him for a long time, because I thought he was still in the military. I didn't realize he got out. And people lose track of each other like that. But then he just brings things ramming home, and maybe you need to do that. Maybe you need to reach out to an old friend. Maybe you need to reach out to an old battle buddy. Maybe you need to reach out to or just go make some new friends. Maybe that's the problem, is the people in your life suck, and they just need to be cut out, and maybe you just need to say, screw it, sell everything, move to a new town. I know I've done that a couple of times in my life, and for that I have no regrets, because my life each time got better.